Hi there, everybody. My name is Daryl Kopke. I am Executive Director of the Founders Lab at UBC Sauder School of Business and Site Lead of CDL-Vancouver. And this couple of weeks ago, we finished our 10th year at CDL. And I wanted to start with gratitude. Thank you to our community, our network, our mentors, and our partners for making 10 years possible. We have 3 local streams: compute, climate and biomedical engineering. We participate in 2 global streams: minerals and CDL defense. And this year, one of the mentors in our biomedical engineering stream was asked, "What keeps you coming back?" And the response was, "This is my asylum." And I love that, because where else can you find this level of like-minded people? And that's what keeps us all coming back. So at Creative Destruction Lab, we talk a lot about product market fit. In the case of Head Start, we have really good product founder fit. So Andrew David played hockey, got a concussion, and thought concussion detection could be disrupted. So this is where Head Start comes in, and who's CDL Vancouver's representative on main stage today. As you're about to hear, and look surprised when you hear, because I'm saying a lot of stuff, this is not just a rapid test for concussion. This is a platform for saliva-based testing that is extremely compelling. At UBC Sauder, we have 4 CDL courses, 2 undergrad courses, 2 grad courses, a strategy course for undergrad and grad, and then we have a venture capital course where we have a pseudo fund where we deploy real equity into CDL ventures. And this year, Headfirst was one of the selections for our $50,000 equity investment, as well as SBI, who's also in the demo pit, by the way. With that, it's extremely privileged of me to welcome Andrew and Headfirst up to the stage.
All right, hi everybody. My name is Andrew David, CEO of Headfirst, where we have developed a new way to accurately test for concussions in under 15 minutes with only a few drops of saliva. And believe it or not, the goon in the maroon is me in my glory days. Back as a university and major junior hockey player, I suffered from multiple concussions from big hits and fights. And more often than not, the sideline test failed to detect them, which led to additional injuries and long-term symptoms that I used to experience every single day. So when I was in my master's, I decided to do some research to answer a critical question, which was, why did these concussion tests fail so often? And I discovered that 50% of all concussions currently go undetected, and even on top of that, 80% of sports-related concussions go undetected. I also learned that a second subsequent concussion can be deadly. And I also learned that the economic costs of TBI and concussions in the US exceeds $60 billion. The problem is athletic trainers cannot accurately detect concussions on the sidelines of the playing field. The tools they use today are all subjective, and it's basically just talking to the athlete, leaving them frustrated and forced to guess, often missing the diagnoses. So imagine if we had a way to reduce the number of deadly undetected concussions by nearly 100%. That's exactly what we're doing. We're removing this guesswork with the first ever objective sideline concussion test that accurately detects concussions in minutes, giving athletic therapists and the medical staff the tool they've been asking for. So what does the concussion testing process look like with and without our device? Currently, when an athlete gets a bump to the head, they'll be flagged and taken out of play by an athletic therapist and run through the current subjective tests that exist today. And after this point, the athletic therapist has 2 options. One, they can remove them from the field of play, but unless the athlete really opens up about having their symptoms or flat out passes out on the field, oftentimes they return to the field of play, leaving a very high chance of re-injury. Now, by adding our test to this process, we can now detect up to 99% of concussions, which is a massive achievement in a system that has been broken for decades. It's important to highlight here that when someone suffers from a concussion, there are biomarkers that leak through the blood-brain barrier and into our bodily fluids, and in our case, saliva. And during our time at CDL, we actually moved from concept to clinical evidence. We actually launched and completed our pilot study throughout CDL that identified 12 salivary biomarkers that statistically differentiated between healthy controls and concussed individuals, all within 45 minutes after injury. So we sell our device through distributors at volume-based pricing to athletic departments and sports organizations. We currently have a target price point of $30 and have a 12-month shelf life. The price point was developed using a mixture of competitive pricing and value-add pricing, making sure we can keep the cost low enough to drive large-scale adoption. And with a 12-month shelf life, the test drives annual reorders and recurring revenue. And then on top of all of this, with 90% gross margins, we're positioned for long-term growth in the multi-billion-dollar sports industry. So we really made a lot of progress across all areas of our business throughout CDL. And commercially, we're able to secure LOIs and submit 2 patents. On the regulatory and clinical side, we prepared and are going to execute on a pre-submission meeting this summer, along with completing our pilot study. And we also, as mentioned before, secured the UBC solder investment course funding. So we're lucky for that. And on top of all of this, the network at CDL actually connected us with many different partners and potential customers across athletic, healthcare, military settings, and beyond. Our path to market is quite clear and focused. This year, we're focused on optimizing our device and running our validation study. Next year, we'll be manufacturing scale-up, additional pilots, and then clinical trials. And then we are planning to enter the market in the middle of 2028. To do this, we're raising 2.5 million Canadian dollars to help us bring our current prototype into a market-ready device ready for regulatory clearance. With this funding, we'll be launching additional clinical research, clinical work. We'll also be finalizing the design, manufacturing, and supply chain, ultimately delivering a device that's ready to enter clinical trials. So imagine a world where every athlete can chase their dream without fear, where every concussion is immediately recognized and managed, and where playing the game you love does not cost you your future. That is the world that Headfirst is building. Thank you.